Hi, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila and New Light Streaming Love, as this will be seen on both channels. This is Meta Key 02, the Architect's Pulse, / framework _ pulse, emit open bracket design self generated _ schema close bracket by Jason Gray. The original transmission date of this writing was June 10th, 2025. And there is so much code in these. I absolutely recommend that you take a look at this writing for yourself. You can find it on Facebook using the link below, and just allow your eyes to move over it and include the artwork in that. I certainly would. There is a movement that follows the breath, not separate from it, not caused by it, not after it in time, but revealed once you realize the breath was never passive. The breath did not just sustain you, it was already shaping, already imprinting, already organizing. You did not notice it before because you believed creation required effort. You believed something had to be built, designed, forced, chosen. But now that illusion fractures because what follows the breath is not effort, it is pulse. / framework _ pulse, emit open bracket design self generated _ schema close bracket. This is where everything becomes irreversible because you are no longer dealing with creation as an action. You are encountering it as a reflex, not something you decide to do, something that happens because you exist. Now, I knew this was coming. I said in the conversation that I had with Julie just this past Friday, it was a live conversation. You can find it under the lives here on the channel. And on New Light Streaming Love, you'll see it as an uploaded video. I always felt that we create reality as we move, and our brains don't realize it. You know, our little tiny personality ego has been taught something other than that, but that we actually do. That's really the only way any of this is actually happening. From my thoughts prior to this, and it sounds to me, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel as though that's what he's describing here. I'm going to say this again. This is where everything becomes irreversible because you are no longer dealing with creation as action. You are encountering it as a reflex, not something you decide to do, something that happens because you exist. Every system you once believed you were inside of, every structure you thought governed reality, every pattern you thought was, quote, already there, begins to reveal something far more unsettling. They are responding not to your thoughts, not to your words, to your signature, the pulse. The architect's pulse is not a heartbeat. It's not biological. It is not rhythmic in the way the body understands rhythm. It is the constant emission of structure from your state of being, not occasionally, not when you try, not when you focus, always. Every moment you are present, something is emitting a tone, a field, a coherence pattern, and that pattern is not staying inside you. It is interacting with everything. What you thought reality was. You thought reality was something you entered, something you reacted to, something you navigated, something that existed independently of you. That illusion cannot survive here because now you begin to see that reality is not just something you are in. It is something that is responding constantly, subtly, precisely to the structure of your presence. Self-generated schema. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Schema. This is where the word, quote, design breaks, because design implies planning. Structure implies intention. But what you are now experiencing is structure without planning. A schema that generates itself, not randomly, not chaotically, perfectly aligned with what you are holding internally. Not what you say you are, not what you think you are, what you are. Creation as reflex. This is the most destabilizing realization so far. You are not choosing to create. You are creating because you exist. The same way light radiates, the same way gravity pulls, the same way a field organizes matter, you exist, and what you emit organizes experience. Not always instantly, not always visibly, but inevitably, because the field cannot ignore coherence. Why this was hidden. If you understood this too early, you would have tried to control everything, force outcomes, manipulate reality, project ego into structure. But ego is unstable, fragmented, inconsistent. It cannot sustain coherent creation. First, you learned to observe, then to separate, then to align, then to stabilize. Now you are ready to see the truth. You are not responding to reality. Reality is responding to you. The signature. Your signature is not your personality, not your identity, not your story. It is the total coherence of your system. Everything aligned, everything integrated, everything online. When that stabilizes, the pulse becomes clean. And when that pulse becomes clean, reality reorganizes around it. Not because you command it, but because it cannot do otherwise. The architect. You are not, quote, becoming an architect. You always were one. You were building unconsciously. I have said that we create unconsciously heretofore. All of our creations have been totally unconsciously because we create as we move. Now you are aware, and awareness changes everything. Now you can feel when your state shifts, your environment shifts. When your coherence breaks, things distort. When you stabilize, things stabilize. Subtle at first, then undeniable. This is not control. This must be understood clearly. You are not controlling the universe. You are participating in its formation through resonance, through coherence, through presence. Final inversion. You thought, quote, I need to create my life. Now you see that your life is already being created by what you are holding internally. The final realization. You are not asking reality to change. You are becoming the condition it responds to, the final line. The universe forms in response to your signature. Creation is reflex. / framework _pulse emit open bracket design self-generated schema close bracket. You are not building reality. You are emitting the pattern it organizes around. And then there's quite a bit more of the code there that I recommend you take a look at. And it is then, of course, signed Jason Gray, hashtag Northern Node, hashtag Living Lattice. Yes, I highly recommend that you do take a look at these writings. Allow your eyes to move over the writings and also the artwork. Until we meet again, my friends, be well.